get us trapped and work in this beautiful analogy. Some of you have heard this before, the idea of windows and mirrors and how all that can kind of play in. It's a beautiful reminder about, avoiding the self-righteousness trap. So I want to talk about like self-righteousness first, just in a bigger context. God clearly wants us to have self-confidence. He does not that interested in us being righteous. And think about it with our kids, right? Like if we're working with our children, for those of us who have children, it sure is nice to have a child who has a sense of confidence, a sense they can accomplish something. But we certainly don't want our child developing a self-righteousness that somehow they're better than. I can, better than. That's the difference. I can is confidence, better than is self-righteousness. And that's where we really want to be in life. We want to be in the I can, not the better than. And as we go through this, friends, the angels are constantly, better angels of our nature, are going to constantly, as we said last week, going to be trying to bend us in a certain direction. And that means bending us towards things and also at the same time bending us away from things. So I think angels are very interested in bending us towards a very humble self-confidence. And at that time, they also are bending us away from a self-righteousness. Now that approach is spoken of here in the book Secrets of Heaven, number 2381. Here's what it says. And it's talking about the goal of angels. The goal of angels is to prevent us, so one of the many goals, I don't think it's the only goal, obviously, is to prevent us from attributing goodness to ourselves and wandering off into self-righteousness, so setting ourselves above others. Otherwise, we would fall into spiritual drought. And I love that idea, right? It's so easy to wander off into self-righteousness because the crazy part, friends, is that it feels good. Self-righteousness feels good. And sometimes it's based on this idea, nothing is harder to give up than a justified resentment because people hurt us, people say things that are hurtful, et cetera, fill in all the blanks, right? And it's easy to have sort of a self-righteousness around that other person, around how bad they are. And the hard part is that some of the time the facts are true. They actually are being a jerk. They are being this, they are being that. But that still doesn't mean that we want to lapse into self-righteousness. Again, I can versus better than, two different things. And that piece, friends, of this deep humility that comes when we move away from self-righteousness. One way to think of it is windows and mirrors. And to kind of set that up, I was listening to a podcast this morning, a beautiful idea, which is when life really dips, we need to go to hope. And when life really goes well, we need to go to humility. And how might that relate to windows and mirrors? Well, I think maybe this way. Windows and mirrors. So when life is really going well, think of it as a window. Think of it as something where this good thing has happened. How can I give credit out there to all the people who've helped me to get to this point or to help this thing happen? How do I give that credit out there? And that doesn't diminish us at all. Nobody is ever diminished by gratitude, especially the giver. And we live in a culture that doesn't say that much, but it's very true. You will never be diminished saying thank you to someone else. As a matter of fact, you become more and more into who God created you to be. So that's the windows part. Now, what's the mirror part? The mirror part is when anything goes wrong, that's where I really want to candidly look in the mirror and be like, oh yeah, so this is my responsibility. And when we feel that self-righteousness kind of tweak, that's where we have to flip from a window to a mirror. And we have to go like, oh yeah, I can't do that. I'm seeing that in myself. I'm seeing that self-righteousness. I see that in that better and I really got to start to look at that in a very different way. And that, once we bend away from self-righteousness, friends, boy, it just puts us in like, remember the poem, nor lose the common touch. The poem, If, by Rudyard Kipling. He talks about never losing the common touch. And that's just great theology there. We never want to lose the common touch. We never want to be above. We're in humanity. We are human beings. And we're never self-made projects. We're always connected in different communities. And the way to really involve ourselves in those is, again, don't let your ego think you're worse than all that, but certainly don't let your ego think you're better than all that. It's about being part of, not being better than. or worse than even, actually, to be honest. So for today, just real simple. Think about windows and mirrors. And if you find yourself, caught up in a little bit of self-righteousness, look candidly at the mirror, know that that's the enemy. Self-righteousness is the enemy, not the other person. Again, remind yourself again that some of the hardest resentments to give up are justified ones, but that's where we're really going to get a lot of spiritual traction. And last but not least, friends, really embrace this idea like God's with you. God's with you on this journey. You're going to have good days. You're going to have bad days. Self-righteousness, not a good way to go. As best as you can, find that deep humility. And it's not humiliation, it's humility, that deep humility that can really connect. And you know what that's like, that humility that doesn't have to know all the answers, that doesn't have to put people into boxes or sort people in terms of higher to lower. It doesn't have to do that. Are there times we have to make judgments? As we say here all the time, obviously, absolutely, totally true. But that idea of these deeper judgments that self-righteousness kind of it thrives on in the darkness, that we want to stay away from as best we can. And the antidote to it, to end on a positive note, are those windows and just expressing gratitude. No one is ever diminished when they have expressed gratitude. So friends, I hope that makes sense. And now what we're going to do is we're going to shift gears. When we shift gears here at New Church Live, we come in for a soft landing. When we come in for a soft landing, what we do is we listen to a little prayer bell. We do a little meditation, a little prayer, a little blessing, and then we say hi to folks on Facebook. So with that, dear friends, let's get a little breath. A little meditation. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends, let's give a little cheery hello to folks who might have joined us on Facebook, and I hope you all had a great weekend. New Church Live, we were down in Pawleys Island, South Carolina, having a wonderful time, which was great. Linda, good morning to you, and I hope you're doing well, my friend. Martha, good morning to you. I hope you are doing very well as well. And now let's flip on over into Church Live, see what might be there. Yeah, this really is fun, getting to these different parts of the country, meeting different people, just always so nice. It's so nice to do and nice to get back home as well. That is for sure. All right, let's see if we can get this going here. There we go. All right, and Marcus, good morning to you. I hope you're doing well. All right, dear friends, well, listen, wishing you a very, very wonderful, amazing day.